Good evening and welcome to my midweek recap here for the S&P 500 and plan ahead for the remainder of the week. Real quick here, these 285 calls I was able to close out for a small loss here on the gap up on Tuesday at 15 cents. I just wanted to take the money off the table that I did have. Of course, in hindsight, would have been a nice profit had I held through this chop. I am still holding August 295 calls and June 325 calls. Now on to what I'm looking for as far as my plan. I still have this note over here. I left it over here just to illustrate that this would have been a perfect play. Uh, had I been paying more attention to the S&P, would have been a tremendous play, even if only for the gap up on Tuesday, and today would have been phenomenal in the 280 calls for next week. But as is the case, did not get into those. I've scalped some SPX calls here and there, done decently well, so we'll see what happens going forward with those. Real quick on the monthly time frame over here, it should be fairly obvious to see bulls are definitely in control. Volume isn't necessarily all that great. If you zoom out, you can see it's low volume here for any July really. Volume is still dwindling, but if you go and look at Facebook or Netflix or Amazon, as price goes up, volume does just dwindles. I mean, there's no disputing that. So the old adage that it takes volume to move price doesn't necessarily always apply. Just like everything in trading, nothing works 100% of the time. So just to keep that in mind, low volume doesn't necessarily mean it's a false move. It just means there's less participation. Sometimes it just doesn't require as much participation as people like to think. Now zooming in here a little bit on the weekly time frame, as I mentioned in our trade crew chat room, this weekly candle would have had a nice buy trigger above 281.30ish area based on this doji top right here. Anytime you have a topping candle or an indecision candle for that matter, break one way or the other usually leads to a nice move, and in this case it is up, and being a perma bull, that's good for me. Next level to keep an eye out for is this 286.60, and as I zoom in here even further here on the daily time frame, there's going to be a little bit of a supply zone, just like when I had this W drawn and I was looking at this 280-ish level right in this region and over here, it's expected to have some selling there. So it's not going to be abnormal to have it chop around, maybe even reject and pull back a little bit, which is perfectly fine with me. I have all my supports over here looking for 280 calls at the AEMA, also looking for 280 calls with some extra time here at the 21 EMA. Down here at the red line, the 50 SMA, I'm looking for 276 calls approximately approximately 4 weeks in the future, and still way down below at the 200 SMA, 270 calls with 2 weeks of time. So those would be the pullback levels that I'm actually looking for. And this, you can see the price actions already make it all the way up to what I consider my overall target. And these lines here just correspond with this zone of supply that's probably going to be up there. I go ahead and throw my notes on there from the W that I'm looking at. Huge drop down, peak, another retracement, and a spike up. Hit one target already. Next area of consolidation is right here at these previous highs. In my opinion, price action is acting like there is a vacuum that's simply filling a void. There is no participation here as far as sellers. If you're bearish, the most ideal position or place to short is going to be up here at these highs. So that's why I would say there's probably a lot of supply up there. We'll see what happens when it gets there. If it comes up here and it chops around a little bit and then breaks higher, that's bad for bears. We're going to have another leg up. If it comes up here, chops around and falls, we're going to have a little bit of a pullback. If it comes up here, chops around, breaks above, and then comes back down in, well, that's pretty strong reversal, and there's going to be stops triggered from those participants that are buying all-time highs, and bears are definitely going to take notice and push it down further, which will take me to my support plays. So for now, I'm still staying extremely bullish. I'll try not to chase too many trades, but if bull flags do set up, ascending triangles, bullish wedges, any kind of those plays do set up, I will happily hop on the train with some shorter term calls and ride it as far as I possibly can. For now, that will be my trade plan for the S&P 500. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. Come join us over at the Trade Crew chat room. It is a free chat. Have a good evening and good luck.